Hey there, it's Estere with your weekly celestial gossip from Starry Blessings Astrology. Well, if you're watching this, you probably survived Thanksgiving and whatever that means for you. And we're heading into another holiday season, which can bring up a lot of stress and tension for people. So, the good news around that is that Neptune, which is has been going retrograde for 4 months since mid-June, stationed, held still, stationed direct this weekend, and now is moving forward in Pisces. It's at 13 degrees Pisces. It still has all the way to 30 degrees to go. It's going to take another 5 years or so that Neptune transits its home sign of Pisces. And Mars is in Pisces right now, too, for the entire month of through the end of November and into all of December until January 1st. So, really, what I want to focus this celestial gossip on is this Piscean energy. So, when the ruler of a sign is in its home sign, Neptune ruling Pisces, it's very strong. It's super comfortable there. It's like, how you're more comfortable in your own home, in your own space than somebody else's, usually. And you're more empowered there. Neptune is more empowered in Pisces than in any other sign. So the entire spectrum of the Neptunian expression is available, and that's all the way from divine connection to spirit to addiction and complete merging boundaries with other people. So it has a range, like all the planets have a range of expression, and Mars, which is the planet of action, it's a fiery hot planet. It kind of dissolves in Pisces, so I think it's important to kind of feel into this Piscean energy and how this might play out for you. So one of the kind of standard stories around Pisces is that it's so sensitive. It's just like a super sensitive, emotional sign. And so when we're in a Piscean time, we're feeling ultra sensitive. And for many of us, that helps us, that like directs us to click right into our addictions. And Pisces is a very kind of addictive sign. And the reason that we entertain our addictions is because we're trying to get away from the pain of feeling. I mean, really, it's just about as simple as that. So addictions can be, shopping. Oh, that's going to be a big one in December. It's going to be a lot of shopping, a lot of credit card bills, racking up. Shopping is a very kind of American cultural way of kind of sublimating feelings, retail therapy, some of us call it. um, Alcohol, food, drugs, worrying, obsessive cleaning, binge watching. Oh, binge watching. Netflix is like, it's like a bar for an alcoholic, for people who like to escape into stories. Now, I'm one of those people. I frequently binge on Netflix, and I know that I'm doing it. The thing about an addiction is, know when you're doing it. I actually like to watch what's trending on Netflix because that gives me a beat. That gives me like kind of an insight into what's happening in the collective. So last night I binge watched The Bodyguard. It's a British series, and it was very interesting because it's about a woman in her power. She's a high powered government official, and she has a bodyguard that she falls in love with and depends on, because I find it very fascinating from the divine feminine and the divine masculine archetypes that are striving to come to some kind of balance today. to be a powerful woman in the world, well, powerful women are still vulnerable, and we still need protection, and we need caring, and we need it from the divine masculine. Whether that's the divine masculine played out through a female or through a male, it's still the archetype of the divine masculine, which is loving, nurturing, protecting. And so I was fascinated by that. And there's some other women archetypes in that show as well that I thought were poignant for this time period. And I recommend it if you're interested in that kind of thing. So I just finished binge watching, I think for the seventh time. I watched the full seasons of Queer as Folk because I love the gay culture and I'm very fascinated with the gay culture, and I found it to be a really beautiful, heartful series. So, those become like, oh, ways that I can not think about my own life and kind of tap into story. Now, I personally was born with Mars in the sign of Pisces, and people born with Mars in Pisces, we tend to like a lot of stories, and we enjoy that experience of being in another reality than our own, and maybe bringing that awareness of that reality into our own lives as well. So whatever you're doing, whatever is your addiction, binging, because kind of guaranteed it's going to be out this month. I mean, there's a lot of stress in our world. There's a lot going on that we have no control over. And the tendency to want to escape into something more pleasurable is very great. So, just be aware of it. Don't judge yourself for it. Just say, oh, yeah, I'm doing that. Work is like a huge addiction in our culture. Oh, I'm working. Oh, I'm working 20 hours a day. Oh, that's okay. It's really not. Anything that you're doing to the extreme or to avoid your feelings is, to be looked at for what it is. What feelings are you avoiding? And why are you indulging in that addiction, which is going to be rampant this month. Jupiter has already moved into Sagittarius, and Jupiter rules Sagittarius. So just like Neptune is so happy in his home sign of Pisces, Jupiter is really happy in his home sign of Sagittarius. And everything in Sagittarius gets bigger. So you have a particular addiction, a particular way that you like to escape reality. It's probably going to be super magnified this month. And so you want to tap into another one of the Piscean traits, which is compassion. And you want to have compassion for yourself and your own vulnerability and your own fears and why you choose the behaviors you do to manage the feelings that you have, and maybe that you don't know how to feel them in a way that feels safe. So no judgment. Take the judgment out of everything. Best to just look at your life and the choices you're making with a realistic eye and say, yeah, I'm binge watching. Okay, so I'm binge watching. I'm not out there, mass murdering or anything, or, road raging. I'm doing something kind of neutral, but I'm also aware that when I do that, it's because maybe I don't want to be feeling something. So that's probably going to be up for you this whole month, and that's okay. We have to allow ourselves to be human, to have frailties, to have vulnerabilities, and to make choices that help us feel more safe in a volatile, kind of a crazy world right now. I mean, I'm not sure it hasn't always been crazy, but the fact that we know about it so instantaneously kind of raises the ante significantly for most of us, especially those of us who are very sensitive and are feeling things on a deeply emotional level. It's like, well, what do you do with all those emotions? Well, you might act out in your addictions, and to just know that. We have 2 planets going retrograde this week. Uranus is still retrograde. It's going to be retrograde for another 3.5 months back into Aries. So it was in Taurus briefly. Now it's back into Aries, where it was for 7 years. And that's kind of creating even more volatility. So just know that and know that this is the times that we're living in, and to plan accordingly for how you're going to kind of manage the stuff that comes up for you. Meditation. I have some beautiful guided meditations on my website, storyblessingsastrology.com. I created one. There are some there from John Wingflower. Meditation's a beautiful way just to like take a little break from what's happening in the world. That gives you like a safe, beautiful place for you to just kind of reconnect with spirit. That's a very Piscean quality, as well as kind of surrendering to spirit, and knowing that, you know, things are occurring in ways that we cannot possibly understand the big picture. I mean, we want to understand it, but you know, it's just out of our perception for our limited reality. To surrender to some kind of you know, a sense of we are spiritual beings having a physical experience. So whatever are the circumstances, people, and experiences that we're calling to us, it's to have the experience of being human, of being a spiritual being in a physical body, and to take yourself off the hook for whatever you judge yourself about. You know, it's a time to let go of judgment. And as you meditate, you know, you can work with crystals. Here's a beautiful crystal. This is a rose quartz heart. Rose quartz is great for heart. It's for the heart chakra. And so when you meditate with a crystal, you know, you just literally hold it in your hand. It helps to kind of radiate your intention. So if you're wanting to bring more peace into your heart, and who doesn't want that these days, you might want to choose rose quartz. And it's good for any sign, any time of the year, anytime you want to connect with your heart chakra. Rose quartz is a beautiful, soothing crystal to use. And just remember, after you meditate, you want to cleanse your crystal. Put it in a little bowl with water, maybe 1 or 2 grains of salt. I like to use the pink Himalayan salt, and let it soak for a few hours or maybe even overnight. And don't keep your crystals in the sunlight either, because it actually fades the color out. Some little crystal tips there for you. Mercury, of course, is still going retrograde, and I'm sure you are feeling that, you know, communication glitches and appointments missed, and I thought I was doing this, but I'm really doing that. And Mercury retrograde really reminds you that you're really not in control of anything. And the only thing you're in control of is your response to whatever's going on. So it helps you to laugh a little bit, chuckle a little bit at your circumstances, and kind of slow down and take a step back and just kind of reevaluate how you're thinking about things. And are you taking the big picture perspective, or are you focused on the minutia, and how is that working for you? So let's see, Pluto's at 19 degrees Capricorn, Saturn's at 7 degrees Capricorn. If these are hitting points in your chart, you're going to be noticing them. The moon is waning now. It was full just recently on Thanksgiving, and now it is waning and moving towards new. It's going to be moving through the signs of Cancer, Leo, and Virgo this week, and on Saturday it reaches Libra. I hope you have a beautiful week on the planet. Make it a beautiful week, because you are loved always, and you will always return back to love. Thanks so much for joining me today for the Celestial Gossip. Wishing you many starry blessings.